Hi, kids. It's good to be back with you. Happy Sunday. We are diving back into the Sermon on the Mount, and we have gone through the second mile passages. We've gone through loving our enemies, and now Jesus is going to continue to hit on some different aspects of our daily life and continue to challenge us and raise the bar even higher than the Old Testament and the scribes and the Pharisees with their little checklists, if you remember that. So this week we are in Matthew chapter 6. And we're looking at the first 4 verses. So if you're old enough to read, you go ahead and read along in those. And Jesus is, he's talking about our motive here. And motive, what is motive? Motive is a reason why you do something. Okay, so you can do an outward action and you can do it for different reasons, and that is different motives, okay? So a motive is basically just why you do something. And Jesus is, he's always bringing things back to the heart. So the scribes and the Pharisees, all they cared about was doing the right outward actions. And that's sort of religion, right? Religion in general is just outward actions. It's you go to church once a week, or you go to church at Christmas, or you pray before you eat dinner, or whatever it is. It's these outward sort of things that you can check off to show, yeah, I'm religious, or I'm spiritual, or yeah, I'm a Christian because I do these outward things. But Jesus is always bringing things back to the heart. So especially in the New Testament, we see him over and over and over, and we see the other writers in the New Testament bringing things back to why. Why are we doing something? What is it that's causing us to do this? Because we can do the right outward action, but if our heart is wrong, then it's wrong. Okay? So Jesus says in chapter 6, he says, beware. Now, beware, that's a strong word, right? Beware would be like beware of running into the street, because you might get hit by a car, right? Beware of wandering out into the woods by yourself because you could get lost. Beware of talking to strangers because not all strangers are safe. So as a child, especially, your parents are probably giving you lots of warnings. Basically, be careful about this or be cautious about this. Beware of this. And that's what Jesus is doing. Jesus is saying, beware of this very dangerous thing. It's actually more dangerous than playing in the street or playing out in the woods by yourself or talking to strangers. Jesus says, beware of practicing your righteousness before other people in order to be seen by them. Okay, so in order to be seen by them is a way of addressing the motive. So it's not necessarily about whether someone happens to see you or not, right? It's not like you have to, if you're going to give some money into the offering, which we used to do in person when we met at the church building. It's not like you have to, look around and make sure no one sees me. I have to do this in secret so that no one sees that I'm giving money to God. It's not about that so much. It's about your motive. So he's saying, in order to be seen by them. So don't do good works. Don't give. Don't do any of these good things for the purpose of, the motive of having other people see you. Okay? And he says, for then you will have no reward from your Father who is in heaven. Now, Jesus talks a lot about reward, actually. And I think sometimes we don't talk about it enough. He does promise us reward, right? I was just telling Heidi the other day, she was studying Hebrews 11, and it's all about faith. And she was studying the verse that says, he who comes to God must believe that he exists, that God exists, and that he rewards those who seek him. And she was asking, what does that mean? And I was just saying, well, it means that we believe that it's going to be worth it. Whatever we go through in this life, it's going to be worth it. God is going to reward every act of obedience, every hard thing we go through for his sake, every time we suffer for his name. It is going to be worth it. Now, we don't know exactly what all of those rewards are, but he is going to be faithful to reward us. But he's saying if we do things only for other people to see, then that's all the reward we're going to get. That work is basically crossed off, and we no longer get to have a reward from God in heaven. So he says, therefore, when you give to the needy, he's assuming that we do give to the needy, so hopefully we are. sound no trumpet before you. Now, this is obviously sort of an exaggeration. People probably did that in this day, but for us, what would that mean? It would mean don't take a picture of yourself doing this. It would mean don't post about this on Facebook, right? It would mean don't do this in a way that's showy or that makes a big deal of it, right? The bottom line is Jesus is saying, do good without making a big deal about it, right? We love to make a big deal about ourselves, don't we, right? And why? You ask, why do we do that? I think it's because we want attention. We want attention. We want to be blessed. We want to be admired, or we want to be thanked, or we want somehow the recognition of doing good things. And Jesus is saying, so when you give to the needy, don't sound a trumpet. Don't make a big deal about it. That's what the hypocrites in the synagogues do and in the streets, so they'll be praised by others. They want praise. They want recognition. They want attention. He says, truly, they have already received their reward. Again, he's saying, if you do stuff just to be praised by people, that's your reward. That's it. So enjoy it, because that's all you got. But he says, when you give to the needy, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Again, he's saying, don't even make a big deal of it in your own mind. Don't make it this grand, showy thing. Just give and be generous without making a big deal. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Now, there is that promise again. Jesus is promising us that when we genuinely give, when we genuinely practice righteousness, not because we want praise and attention from people, not because we're trying to build ourselves up, but because we just love God and we want to do what He says, when we do that, and we do that in just a quiet, undramatic way, non-dramatic way, God will reward us. We have to believe that God exists and that He will reward those who faithfully, diligently seek Him. So when we seek Him and we give and we do good and we're willing to not be seen by other people, God promises that we will have a reward. And I just want to encourage you, there are probably things that you have had to go through this year, maybe you've had to give up, maybe you're hosting a house church and you've had to kind of give up your space, or you've had to share your toys, or you've had to clean up messes that you haven't made, perhaps. There may be some frustrating or difficult things that you've had to go through, or maybe you've had to go without some things in order to be generous to other people. There are probably lots of things that you've had to go through this year. I just want to encourage you that God sees. Even if no one else sees that you're willing to share your toy, or you're willing to not get mad when something gets ruined, or you're willing to give away something precious that you have, God sees that. And when we choose to, again, not be praised by other people, but just obey God quietly, He will reward us, okay? The other thing I wanted to mention was just thinking about, again, why do we think that we do this? I think it's because we want attention. And we long for attention. We long to be praised. And one of our favorite authors, Brent Hansen, talks about we all long to be blessed. And that's not bad. We want to be blessed. We want to be blessed by each other. We want to be blessed by our parents. And ultimately what Jesus is saying is, even if you're not blessed by anyone else, you will be blessed by God. So you don't have to do things in order to get attention from the people around you, or to get their praise, or to get their approval. The more that you can learn from a young age to just do what is right in the eyes of God and not worry about who praises you or who doesn't praise you, the more stable you will be your whole life. So I just want to say thank you. I know so many of you are faithfully giving up your time and being generous and kind in ways that no one else probably even sees. And I hope that you know that God sees and that God will reward you, and that He is pleased by any secret sacrificial giving or kindness that you do in His name. Okay? So may we be people, adults and children, who quietly obey God and do what is right and don't have to make a big deal about it. All right? We love you. I've been praying for you. We will continue to pray for you, and I hope you have a great week.